Right now, inside your head, something extraordinary is happening. Nearly 86 billion neurons are communicating with each other every single second. These tiny electrical signals create your thoughts, your memories, your emotions. They create your entire sense of reality. But what happens when life itself is about to end? What happens inside the human brain in the final 30 seconds before death? And what scientists discovered during those final moments may completely change how we understand consciousness. For a long time, scientists believed that when the heart stops, the brain simply shuts down. Life ends and the brain goes silent. But modern neuroscience tells a very different story. In 2022, doctors were recording the brain activity of a dying patient. They expected to see the brain slowly fade into darkness. Instead, something remarkable happened. The brain suddenly produced a powerful burst of electrical activity. These signals are called gamma waves. Gamma waves are some of the most complex brain waves we know. They usually appear when the brain is doing something extraordinary, when you're deeply focused, when you're processing information, and most importantly, when you're recalling memories. This discovery has led some neuroscientists to believe something fascinating. In the final moments before death, the brain may enter a state of extreme activity, a final surge of consciousness. And during this moment, the brain may rapidly activate memory networks, almost like a final attempt to review the experiences of an entire lifetime. For centuries, people have described a strange phenomenon that their life flashed before their eyes. For a long time, scientists thought this was only a metaphor, but brain recordings suggest it may be real. But this raises an even deeper question. Why would the brain become more active just as life is ending? Is it simply the brain's final attempt to survive? Or could it reveal something much deeper about the nature of consciousness itself? To answer that question, we need to go deeper into the most complex structure in the known universe, the human brain.
Every night when you close your eyes, you enter a world where the laws of physics no longer apply. Dreams. For centuries, we thought they were messages from the gods or echoes of the soul. But modern neuroscience has revealed that dreams are a complex process of memory consolidation and emotional regulation. During REM sleep, your brain is actually almost as active as when you are wide awake. This is when the hippocampus and the amygdala work together to process the events and emotions of your day. Dreams help us solve problems and prepare for future challenges by simulating various life scenarios. But why do they often feel so strange, so completely illogical? It's because the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for logic, is mostly offline during dreams. Dreams remain one of the last frontiers of the mind, a nightly journey into the deep architecture of who we are.
What happens in your brain 30 seconds before you die? For centuries, this was a mystery beyond the reach of science. But recent breakthroughs have allowed us to peek behind the curtain, revealing a hidden world of activity in our final moments. When the heart stops, clinical death begins, but the brain doesn't just switch off. It enters a state of hyperdrive. In 2022, scientists accidentally recorded a dying brain and found something staggering: a massive surge of gamma waves. Gamma oscillations are the brain's highest frequency waves, usually seen during intense focus, dreaming, or deep meditation. This suggests that in those final 30 seconds, your brain might be playing a last recall of your most cherished life events. It's as if the brain is gathering every fragment of who you were, creating one final vivid experience of being alive. Simultaneously, a chemical surge floods the system. Endorphins and serotonin are released in unprecedented amounts. This neurochemical cocktail may explain the profound sense of peace and out-of-body sensations often reported in near-death experiences. But as the seconds tick by, the biological reality of oxygen deprivation begins to take its inevitable toll. As oxygen continues to disappear, the brain's electrical activity begins to change. Neurons that once fired billions of signals every second slowly begin to fall silent. One by one, the vast networks that created your thoughts, your emotions, and your memories start shutting down. But before the brain completely shuts down, something extraordinary can occur. A massive electrical wave sweeps across the brain. Scientists call this phenomenon terminal spreading depolarization. It is like a final ripple of activity moving through billions of neurons at once. In that moment, the brain experiences its last coordinated signal, a final desperate surge of energy. And then the signals fade. The circuits that once created awareness fall silent. The memories stored across billions of connections become still. From a scientific perspective, this is the moment consciousness disappears. But the truth is, science still doesn't fully understand consciousness. We know how neurons communicate. We understand how signals travel through the brain. But the greatest mystery remains unanswered. How does electrical activity inside the brain create the experience of being alive? What is the spark that makes us us? The human brain is the most complex structure we know in the universe, and in its final seconds it may reveal something profound about the nature of life itself, not just how we die, but how we experience being alive, the neurofathom. Join us as we explore the deepest mysteries hidden inside the human mind. Subscribe to the Neurofathom as we continue exploring the mysteries hidden inside the human mind. Thank you for watching. Our journey through the mind has only just begun.
For decades, doctors have reported something extraordinary. People who were clinically close to death often return with vivid memories, not dreams, not hallucinations, but experiences that feel incredibly real. They describe floating above their bodies, watching doctors trying to revive them, and hearing voices in the room even while they were unconscious. One of the most common experiences reported around the world is the sensation of moving through a tunnel toward a bright light. This phenomenon has been described in different cultures, different countries, and even by people with completely different beliefs. Neuroscientists believe this may happen when oxygen levels drop in the brain. The visual cortex, the part of the brain responsible for sight, begins shutting down. Peripheral vision fades first, leaving only a bright central point of light. Another common experience is the sensation of leaving the body. People report seeing themselves from above, almost like watching their own life from the outside. Science suggests this may be linked to a small region of the brain called the temporoparietal junction. This area helps your brain understand where your body is in space. When this region becomes disrupted, your brain can lose its sense of physical location, and suddenly the mind feels separated from the body. Many survivors also report something even stranger. Time itself seems to behave differently. Moments can feel like minutes or even hours. This may happen because the brain's memory centers, particularly the hippocampus, become extremely active during extreme stress. The brain begins rapidly processing memories, which can create the illusion that time has slowed down. But despite everything neuroscience has discovered, one mystery still remains. Why does the brain create such powerful experiences in its final moments? Are these simply biological reactions, or could they reveal something much deeper about consciousness itself? And the answer may lie in the final stage of the brain's shutdown process.